Hey, indie filmmakers, I'm Griffin Hammond.
I'm Nick Bodmer, and I'm a real race car driver.
All right, so it's day 54 for me. No, day 53 for me of staying at home. This is May 6th.
Yeah.
But I have not yet installed a race car in my office. What is going on?
Well, why not, Griffin? Why not? Look at this. I got a wheel, I got pedals, I got like the race chair. I'm ready to go.
Are you just that stir crazy that you needed something?
I mean, there's no doubt that played a role in... Have you seen this, though? This thing called iRacing? It's like on TV now as like a real esport where the real like NASCAR drivers and IndyCar drivers are participating.
Well, yeah, that's where I need your help today. Is I know the term iRacing. I know that it's something you're doing, and I know that it is this replacement for professional race car driving while coronavirus is happening, while this pandemic's happening. But I really don't know much about it beyond that it exists.
Well, it does exist, so you got that down. But it's a simulator, right? It's a video game, right? You pay a monthly fee to be a member. You get the simulator.
And what consoles is it on? Can anyone play this?
No, it's PC only. So you gotta have a gaming PC. A lot of guys do it with either a big monitor in front, or a lot of them do 3 monitors to kind of surround them to give them the view. As I just showed everybody, I'm using my Oculus Rift virtual reality headset to play, so you really feel like you're sitting in the car.
Okay, so you're playing this. You're racing inside your Oculus Rift. Mm-hmm. Why go for the full like seat that you have? Is this to have the full sensory VR experience?
So when I got the Oculus Rift years and years ago, I picked up a used wheel and pedals on eBay just because I thought it'd be cool to try some racing games. And whatever one I tried at the time, I didn't find particularly compelling. So it went into a closet, and then this iRacing thing I'm starting to hear about. Everybody's quarantined. It's all of a sudden on TV. I'm like, that looks really cool. I want to try it. And guess what? I've got an Oculus Rift, which you can use, instead of having to have crazy monitors. And I was like, I've got a wheel in my closet that I haven't touched in years. So I dusted it off and attached it to my desk and put the pedals under the desk. And I was playing and I was hooked. It was super fun. But, it's my desk where I work and try and get stuff done. So I was constantly like attaching the wheel to the desk and moving the pedals, then moving them out of the way and taking them off. And it was just getting a little annoying. And I was reading about these cockpits. People build these incredibly beautiful, intricate, huge cockpits. But this is something called the Playseat Challenge. It is basically like a folding lawn chair, but with a place to mount the pedals and the wheel and stuff. So it just folds up real easy, and I can just go stick it in the closet, and it's not interrupting all my desk space. As you saw, I transitioned from race car driver to podcaster very quickly. Which is nice.
So this replaces your other pedals and steering wheel? This has its own?
No, it has the mounts for it. So I just mounted my pedals and steering wheel to it. So I'm still using the old Logitech Driving Force GT pedals and wheel that I had. They're not super fancy, but they work. They get the job done. So
your computer and your Oculus are probably the most expensive parts of this. But how much roughly does it cost to get a steering wheel and pedals and this chair?
I think to get a good, there's some really, really crappy ones out there, but the cheapest ones that people will recommend are probably $200-ish for a wheel and pedals, which is probably what these were, maybe a little less since I bought it used on eBay back in the day. Yeah. However, right now, it's one of those pandemic items that the price has skyrocketed because I'm not the only person who's interested. So pedals and wheels are sold out everywhere. On eBay, they're $700.
Oh, wow.
You may have to wait a little bit for the price to stabilize. I already have maybe glanced at what an upgraded pedal and wheels might cost, and you can spend some serious money on this stuff.
Well, if you don't have serious money, but you already have some of the equipment to play, and maybe can't get a steering wheel because it's sold out, can you play with a mouse and keyboard or anything like that?
I think you can play with a controller, but from what I hear, almost no one does. It would be virtually impossible to be competitive without a wheel.
Okay.
So there's plenty of good driving video games out there you can play with a controller. This is a simulator. This tries incredibly hard to simulate the tires and the wear on the tires and exactly how everything would work. You need a wheel, I think, for this.
Yeah. And how much does the chair cost?
These NASCAR drivers, the chair was like $250, which is a lot.
Whispering it. Can we put that in the show notes so people can find it if they're interested?
I can put the gear in the show notes. And the iRacing itself is actually fairly expensive too. There's a monthly fee to be on the simulator.
Yeah.
And then if you want to do cars and tracks beyond, I mean, it includes a lot of stuff in your base subscription, but a lot of the stuff people want to do is you move up to higher end cars. You have to buy the cars and the tracks separately. So
okay.
I've already bought some cars and tracks.
A big question I have about iRacing that I don't understand is this like the NASCAR racers that are doing it now instead of actual NASCAR racing? One, are they new to this, or were they already using this before as a simulator? And two, are they any good at it?
It's a mixed bag, is what it seems like. A lot of professional racers do this already for fun and for practice. A lot of the same skills do translate from real racing to this, but not all. And sometimes the real racers get a little frustrated because the things that are different throw them off.
Well, that's what strikes me about this as a sport, as an esport. Like in the NFL, you can't convert your skills to a video game necessarily. You might be good at the video game, but they're not similar skills. Whereas the
fact that it's cockpit based, makes it so that as the simulation improves, it really can be the same skill sets that you transfer back and forth. So yeah, a lot of people use it as practice. A lot of people use it as fun. Real racing people. Some of them have obviously never done it before and they're less good, but they get up to speed pretty quick, especially as they practice. If you gotta go. I wasn't a NASCAR fan really. I mean, I just never really watched it, but when you go watch this iRacing broadcast on Fox, they're doing it just like it was a real NASCAR race. And I swear to God, if you just walk by the TV, you'd think it was a real NASCAR race on it. The way the shot, it all looks like real television cameras. And,
I think I have caught a glimpse of one on a TV and was like, you really do have to look, or even maybe it's like a Twitter video. It was small on the screen. And at first it does look real until you really pixel peep.
And some of the drivers are not taking it very seriously. Like one race car driver got he wrecked, and so then he just quit, he exited the game, and he just dropped off the feed, and his sponsors dropped him. His real life NASCAR sponsors were we don't want to be supporting quitters. You're out.
Yeah.
And someone else found that they couldn't use some very horrible language while streaming their iRacing race and got in big trouble.
I think that's probably the reason I've heard of iRacing, is because there have been a few scandals.
Been a few controversies.
Which probably would have been swept under the radar a little bit when the real racing sport was getting all the headlines, but now the iRacing is where the racing news is.
Right. Although I do think NASCAR's announced they are coming back within the next month or something. They're going to run some real races. So
what I wonder, maybe you don't know this, but when they broadcast these iRacing competitions with the professionals, are they also telling people they should play the game?
You mean advertising for it?
Yeah. Is it brought to you by iRacing? I mean, they're talking about it a lot.
Yeah, it's co-branded with iRacing pretty heavily. So I'm sure. I know iRacing has had a little trouble with the demand. Has spun up fairly dramatically.
And on these Fox broadcasts,
it is so much fun.
Is it just the professional NASCAR drivers, or are there also professional iRacers who are only gamers competing?
They've done both. They've done some pro-ams or some invitationals where it's both professional racers and the people who are really good at iRacing. Yeah. But they've also done some that are just the NASCAR people, so it's really a NASCAR event.
Yeah.
I think they called it, I had it in front of me, the eNASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series.
Interesting.
So, it's cool. Some of the people driving are they run the team, but they're not the real driver, but obviously they have some racing skills or things like that. Or I think Dale Earnhardt Jr. was racing. I think he's retired, but he's racing in them.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool.
When you told me about this, I was imagining that everyone was doing this in VR, but you talked about the 3 screens. I actually saw this on Twitter, I think just because there was a semi-viral video of some race car driver in his very professional-looking simulator. He clearly is the real deal and was using this as a simulator before coronavirus. And his daughter comes over and tries to bug him during a race. He's right in the middle of racing, which I guess is not something that would normally happen on the racetrack.
Not normally.
And she was upset about not being able to watch something on TV. So she had like the TV remote with her, and she accidentally pushed the power button, and it switched off his main screen
monitor.
in front.
Hey, my screen just went black. What just happened? Can't see anything. My screen's black.
And he probably crashed.
It knocked him out of the race, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that can happen. I was in VR racing, and my dog came up and like licked my arm, and it freaked me out so bad I crashed. Because I was not expecting to get licked on the arm, and yeah. Also, I'm bad at racing, but
I know you have some. I've been showing some of your B-roll that you shot. I don't suppose you have the dog crash recorded.
I don't. Unfortunately, that was not recorded.
Man, you could have gone viral.
I made a little video and put it up on my page. I kind of recorded myself doing a race and kind of talking through some of, what I was thinking about while I was racing and what I think about being a rookie and iRacing. So you can check that out. It's on my channel. I edited it down so it's not too long. I think it's about 10 minutes long. So you can go check that out. I think I get 4th place, so that's pretty good. I avoid some wrecks. I spin out at least once, but ended up in 4th place, so that's not bad.
Yeah. Well, out of how many people are racing on a? I don't. This is how little I know about racing.
Depends on the track and the type of car you're in, but something like between 12 and 25 cars.
Oh, okay. Yeah. How are you good at this? I don't have any sense.
I guess my rating is, so there's like what they call an I rating, which is like your skill as a driver.
Yeah.
That's been going up, but it's still not, anywhere close to like what really good people are. It probably will never be. But it tries to match you up with people of similar skill level, which is nice. And then the other thing you have is something called a safety rating, because what's really, it makes it fun, but frustrating too, is like, you can be cruising along doing really well, and somebody can do something stupid on the track and crash you, and you're basically just done. The time you've put in is somewhat wasted. So,
well, yeah, because you said this is a simulator. Rating. This is not like Mario Kart where your car's going to go a lot faster.
Real damage. Real damage. You do get the opportunity to like repair. So, but by the time you get to the pits and repair, usually you're pretty far out of. If you were doing well, you're not going to finish well, or at least as well. So that can be frustrating. So you have a safety rating. So people who are really bad don't get to move up to the higher ranked stuff, even if they're fast and finish well in races. If they cause a lot of chaos, it helps with that. So I have. You have to try this next time you're here.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I think I'll have to come over, right? Because I have a Mac and a Oculus Quest, which doesn't hook up to a PC, so I can't play this.
That's right. That's right. Although I think I did read that the Oculus Quest you can use it hooked up to a PC.
Oh yeah.
So we'll
but
get
it still
you a
can't run the
PC.
game.
We'll get you a wheel and a pedal and a racing cockpit, and then you and I can go do some laps. What do you think?
That should be fun.
It would be fun.
Right now, my go-to VR game is still Beat Saber,
which I haven't played in a while. I really should play that again, but I do is play iRacing right now.
iRacing is probably not much of a workout, is it?
I get a little sweaty, but I think that's just intense. It's intense.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think I understand it now. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're
for
welcome.
Shedding light on this.
You really have to try it to understand it, Griffin. So we'll work on that with you.
Yeah.
When we're not all in quarantine, you can come to Nevada. We'll give you
definitely
a little trial.
Yeah. Should we thank our sponsor?
I think we should. Hey Indie Filmmakers is brought to you by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your filmmaking business. So this was kind of funny. A few days ago, I got a call from one of my friends who is he's thinking this might be a good time to add some freelance income to what he does.
And so he was asking me about how to go about that. And one of the things was like, what should I do for a website? And so I was walking him through my thought process from a couple of years ago when I was really doing all freelance, and I built griffinhammond.com as a Squarespace site. I did it because at the time I was looking at pricing, and the price was right, and the fact that I could do everything I need to do as a website, but it was also a place that I could host my podcast. It, rather than paying another podcast service, it seemed like I could do a lot on this one website. So I was really like selling him on Squarespace, and then I was
you were giving him the pitch that you know so well.
Well,
but
and then I
true.
literally was like, if you're going to do that, you should go to squarespace.com/Griffin to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. And he was like,
That's funny.
Sounds like I'm on your podcast. It sounds like I'm listening to your podcast.
Thank you, Squarespace.
Thank you, Squarespace.
Griffin, I hear there's some exciting news. Can you tell us a little about that?
Are you talking about the Webbies?
I'm talking about the Webbies.
Well, it's funny that you bring that up, because I think by the time this posts, people won't be able to help me anymore. I'll still be nominated for a Webby, but the voting period will have ended.
Well, a little faster on getting those podcasts out there, Griffin.
And I think I can preemptively share some bad news that it looks like I'm not going to win the People's Voice part of the Webby Awards.
But nobody likes the people. We want the real judges.
So yeah, there's an internet vote happening as we're recording this, and for a while I was in second place, and then suddenly overnight Quartz jumped from 5th place to 1st place. I don't know how that happened.
That sounds shady. Quartz.
But it was gonna be a tight race for first anyway. But then they're gonna do an award show on May 19th, and it'll be a virtual award show. I won't get to attend. Normally they would do this in New York, but we'll see. The judges might give me the Webby that the judges pick. I won't win the audience choice one, though, I don't think.
Well, I am rooting for you, and I voted for you, if that makes you feel better.
Well, and I want to thank everyone who did vote for me, because I put out a YouTube video asking for people to support this is a show that I do on Recount called Rewind, this historical archival video show, and it was nominated for a Webby. So I've never been nominated before, and I'm excited that just that happened.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, that's cool.
And you had something you wanted to...
Yeah, I got a little piece of feedback in the comments of one of our videos going back 2 or 3 episodes ago when we did the lighting episode.
Right.
Was that 2 episodes ago? I can't recall. But we had a little trouble. We were trying to set the colors of the LED panels, and found you had to use the app and connect to each one over Wi-Fi to do that.
Right. This is
Turns
your
out that's
great
incorrect.
video maker 800D light, right?
Right. Yeah. There is the ability to control it straight from the back panel, which one of our listeners pointed out to me, and I should have looked up their name, and I didn't, but thank you, listener. And I did that, and it does, in fact, work. So that is much better than the janky app connectivity, which I did not really like.
The fix, there's some button you push, and then suddenly that dial that changes the bicolor
you
also
just
changes
push
the RGB.
in on one of the buttons, and it turns it into that little RGB switcher. Cool. And then, 2, I was setting up the lights for this podcast, and one of the problems I had last time we shot was you couldn't really tilt the light down because the barn doors hit the frame, which is a little annoying. So I was kind of like closing the barn door to let the light point down and then reopening it behind the bracket. And I was thinking to myself, man, I wish it wasn't designed like this with these barn doors, because I can't point the light where I want.
Yeah.
And then it dawned on me there was a simple solution, which you probably already know, but I figured out just 30 minutes ago before we set this up, that you can actually mount the light bracket sideways onto the light stand so that it points out, and then you have tons of ability to rotate it.
I see.
I assume they're all like that, and I just was silly, but that was a good thing to note.
No, I can't quite imagine it. I think you'll have to share a photo in the show notes.
Can I share it right now? I mean, I'm gonna mess up my lighting situation, but here, I'll show you.
The sounds make it worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. See? So before I had this bracket here pointed straight up, and now I've got it at this 90-degree angle, which lets me tilt it as much as I like.
Oh, okay, I get it.
That's good. Well, you can't actually see this.
Right,
now,
I'm pretending to get it.
Which I like.
Because as people who listen to this podcast or watch this podcast know, we do not see each other. This is not video conferencing. We are recording two separate cameras and sending the files to each other.
But through the magic of editing, they sync up.
Which is a production technique that I think a lot of more people should use right now in this age of Zoom. I was actually kind of wondering,
Yes.
have you used your camera, your DSLM, for any Zoom calls?
I want to, but it does not appear that. And now, if somebody out there knows a way to do this, I'll be very happy. But I cannot get my Sony a7 III camera to show up as a webcam on my Mac.
Because you're plugging it in through USB.
Does that make sense?
And your Sony software recognizes it for tethering. You're able to record and control
I'm able to control the camera, but not record to the PC. It's still recording to an SD card.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's the case with just about every DSLR style camera is some of them have USB functionality, but they're not usually sending their video feed over USB. So you almost are always sending video out.
I just saw that Canon released some software for their cameras that lets them do this very thing.
Yeah.
But I have not seen Sony do that. Now, I do also have an Elgato HD60 Plus, HD60S.
Yeah.
I forget, one of those HDMI
capture devices.
HD capture cards.
Yeah.
You know, it's a USB capture card. But the version of that I have also does not show up like a traditional webcam. I can use their software or something like OBS to do recording of the camera feed, but I can't route it to another application that's expecting a webcam that's plugged in.
Oh, that's
which is
annoying.
a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, because actually I would have assumed I've seen that Elgato, or I've seen a product called the Elgato Cam Link, which is like $140. I'll put it in the show notes. A lot of Twitch streamers use it, and I've recommended that to some people. I own an old Blackmagic Intensity Extreme, which plugs in through Thunderbolt. I plug in my camera through HDMI into the box. It goes into my computer through Thunderbolt, and then I just had to install the Blackmagic video software, and then the whole operating system sees this as a webcam. So when I'm in Zoom, I was actually able to pull my GH5S into a Zoom call.
Yeah, just the particular HD60S, I think, is what I have. Doesn't support that, but I saw that their newer products do. So it's just the version I have, unfortunately.
So you think like the one I was looking at, the Elgato Cam Link 4K, probably supports webcamming?
It probably does, because I remember it was very specific that if I had the Plus version or one version up from whatever I had, I would have been able to do that. But
interesting.
So no, I've just been, I actually ordered a Logitech webcam for my Mac, because I have a desktop Mac, and a Mac Mini, and just a monitor, so I don't have a webcam attached to it. But in the interim, I'm connecting to all those meetings via my iPad, which has a fairly good camera. It's just not positioned very well. Yeah. So I'm always like stacking my iPad on things to try and get to like up to my eye level, but then it's pointed up, and so I have to like put a shim underneath the case to tilt it. It's a little bit of a mess. So, but as you can imagine, webcam's also back ordered right now. I think I ordered it from B&H, and they're anticipating June, and I ordered it like a month ago. So
I suppose the only cool thing I can do with my camera as a webcam is I put on the same lens that I'm using for the podcast, my 12mm f1.4, which gives me kind of this cool wide-angle look, but also kind of rare for a 12mm, can really throw the background out of focus at f1.4. So immediately people are like, wait, what camera are you using? That does not look... It's a little bit wider than a webcam, and it's like shallow depth of field. I'm also usually lighting my
That's what I want, because I'm doing I'm doing video calls every day, so I would really like to. I would probably set up my lights and everything, but alas,
you should set up the lights. That's what I think really sells the cinematic effect. But the thing that kind of surprised me was I also set up this microphone. I'm using we both have the blue baby bottle studio mic, and I set it up plugged into my H5 as an audio interface you can plug the H5 into your computer through USB and it becomes an available microphone in the operating system.
Yeah.
And so I plugged in this nice mic, and Zoom gives you a little place where you can test your audio. You can just record real quick and then play it back and make sure it sounds good. And I guess what it does is it actually like converts the audio, down reses it or whatever it does that before broadcast. Because I'm using this really nice mic, but when I record it and play it back, Zoom spits back to me like it sounds like it's on a telephone. Which I guess it's cool that it's telling me exactly what it will sound like to the audience. But yeah, it's not. I kind of lose the broadcast sound.
It's too bad, my friend. It is too bad.
Although I did a side-by-side test between my AirPods and my Blue Baby Bottle in Zoom, and it was just better enough that I was like, yeah, I'll keep the nice mic here. I'm going to
use it. Well, we continue the quarantine.
Yeah. At least our Zoom calls are looking real good.
Real good. Well, yours are. I'm just... actually, the iPad camera isn't bad. The iPad front camera is better than, like, a Mac's camera. For whatever reason, they're just higher quality cameras. Yeah. So, I usually look pretty good. I got a nice window. I haven't been setting up the lights, but, I make sure the lighting looks good.
Right. Well, yeah, one day, someone that I was working with at work sent me a video, and I was like, this video looks better than your last video. What's going on? He's like, oh, yeah, I got the new iPad. That'll do it. They really do.
That'll do it.
Jump way up in quality from generation to generation.
Well, my friend, I think it's that time.
Yeah, it's great talking to you. Stay safe.
Good talking to you. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.
Quick audio check. Yep, just to confirm.
Am I supposed to? Am I reading the wrong thing? I'm reading the wrong thing.
Are you? Oh, you are.